I'm Tom Rioch, promoting successful business experts, connecting people throughout the world from my podcast studio in Brazil. Joining us today from Great Neck, New York, Deborah Heiser, founder of the Mentor Project, TEDx speaker and author, specialist in redefining what being older looks and feels like. So, Deborah, what is generativity?
Oh, generativity is something a lot of people haven't heard about. They don't know what it is, but everyone engages in it. So it's a midlife stage that we usually hit by about 50 years of age. And this has been researched for decades. It was originally posited by Erik Erikson, a developmental psychologist. And what it really means is that we have an innate desire to give back without expecting anything in return. And just like walking and talking or breathing, we have this innate desire to do this. And it's so counter to what most younger people think, like, why would you want to give stuff away? But the way that this really is set up is that, we have spent, by the time we reach 40 or 50, decades of accumulating information, expertise, knowledge, values, culture, skills. And we hit a point where we kind of need to open that Tupperware lid and let some of it out. And this stage allows us to give back to the next generation, to the people that we want to give back to, in the way we want to give back. So you can...
And needs it, that generation that needs it.
Exactly. So we can do this through volunteering, philanthropy, or mentorship. And most of us are doing this all the time. How often have you rounded up at the grocery store? You don't have to have your name on a building. How often have you donated your time to a cause that you really feel passionately about? And people mentor every day without knowing they're doing it. If somebody says, hey, can you help me solve a problem? Most people say, yeah, let me help you. And that is a form of lateral mentorship. So this is something that we do continuously, and getting engaged in this is a meaningful connection with somebody else.
So then the Mentor Project actually helps people structure what you've just said. Persons who may not realize that they are a mentor, you give them some of the tools to get their arms around it?
Yeah, the Mentor Project was actually formed because, and it was by accident. It was formed because I was talking to mentors and saying, some people who are the top 1% of what they do. And they were saying, I don't have access to mentees. And I was like, are you kidding? People would pay to meet with you. But there was such a disconnect. And so we formed the Mentor Project to be able to connect top experts with students around the world for free, because the mentors were feeling irrelevant or that they were
underused, right?
Yeah, they just, and everyone can relate to this. Imagine if you have an expertise and no one knows anymore, or you're retiring and it feels like the world is going by without you. You're not useful, or you don't have a purpose anymore. So the Mentor Project was a way to engage generativity. A lot of people volunteered not just to mentor, but to do some of the things that make the company work, and the mentors volunteer their time. And so we were really able to see generativity in action. People engage in philanthropy by donating so that we can do a lot with students around the world. So it was kind of really a nice generativity bubble that we got to show.
And you mentioned the word donating, but exactly, I think that's probably the most undervalued or overvalued asset we all have is time. So, and what we all do have is that ability to donate time and whatever comes with that. So I think and most people are just looking for, can I have a minute?
A lot of people, it's not what I've found is more people feel the need to mentor than be mentored. It's because when you feel, it's like an itch that needs to be scratched. You have all this information. Imagine, if you think about what mentoring is, that's the religion that's been passed down for centuries. The family traditions, a whole entire culture. that isn't just somebody, coming up with it, every generation.
Right.
These are things that get passed down. And we all have that itch to make sure that what we believe in and our values and our culture, not just, are we a good accountant, but, those values, that those get passed on. And that's such an important thing for people to know, is that you can do that in 3 different ways.
Right.
I don't want to undervalue the importance of rounding up or donating even a small amount to an organization or to a person, whatever that may be. That's important. People think you have to donate millions in order to make impact, and that's just not true.
No.
In terms of volunteering, every minute that you give that is towards your own goal is generating a piece of you into the world. And every time you mentor, it's literally a piece of you it's like you're immortal then. A piece of you gets put into somebody else.
Well, it really is. It's legacy, because what I found in my life, we never really know. We could know, but generally we don't know what sticks of the things that we've said or done with people. But it all sticks. The only thing I know that it does stick.
I have an example. I wrote a book, The Mentorship Edge, and there is a Nobel Prize winner, Bob Lefkowitz, who he actually wanted to solve this problem. He didn't know if what he was doing stuck. He said, how is it that I won a Nobel Prize? Where did that come from? I'm like a regular guy. And so what he did was he mapped out what he calls a legacy tree. So just like we would have ancestry.com where we can see all of our relatives, he did that with his mentors and mentees. And he made like a tree, and he published it in a peer-reviewed journal article. And he went to a conference a couple of weeks later, and somebody came up to him and he said, hey, Bob, I'm 6 degrees Lefkowitz. And he said, what do you mean? And he said, well, 5 people have worked between you and me, and now here I am. So Bob said, what are you working on? And the guy told him, and Bob could hear his own voice and his own work in this person. So we don't know our impact usually, but we do know that once you put something out there, it goes on and on and on and on.
I want to say this is so refreshing for me, because obviously you mentioned mid-life at 50. For me, that was years ago. So life goes on, and fortunately, as long as it goes on, something could happen. But at the beginning of every year, I generally take a look at, it's the existential thing of, what are you doing and why are you doing it?
Yeah.
And this has been very insightful for me at my time, because sometimes we're doing something and not really sure why. And you've given me another reason just to keep doing what I'm doing, because it's a big why.
Generativity is something that goes on and on. We don't stop it. It's just the start of when we really have enough of our expertise and know who we are and know, what our value is, that we really have a desire to give it back.
Being comfortable with ourselves, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very good. Well, I want to thank you for being here. It was a really exciting day for me. This is...
Likewise.
No,
thank you
really,
for having me.
This is better than coffee.
I agree. It's been great being on here with you. It's a delight. Thank you for having me.
Well, how can our listeners find you?
You can find me at mentorproject.org or deborahheiser.com. You can find my book anywhere you get books, in any form, whether that's audio or, in hardcover. And I write for Psychology Today. You can find me there too. Very good. I want to thank you again for being here. Thank you for having me. And again, it's Deborah Heiser. It's Deborah, and the last name Heiser. Heiser. You find her also at deborahheiser.com, LinkedIn, and many others. So thanks again, Deborah. Thank you. Cafe Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information at focusmi.com. Talk to Tom, talk to the world. Thanks for listening. Till the next time here at Cafe and Networking Podcast.